In praise of animals. Hey, Michael. At this point, it's just you, me, and Tech Guy.
Hi, Michael.
He says hello. Yeah, so back many moons ago, yogis sat quietly in the forest, and some people will meditate with their eyes partially open. And I'm sure if you're sitting all day in the forest every day of the week, you want to notice what's going on. And they watch the animals. And after observing animals doing, being, the yogis decided that, in fact, they practiced some of those postures, some of those positions, and they found it to be an enlightening experience. And of course, thousands of years later, here we are, practicing some of the postures and positions that animals take. So that's what this class is all about. And we are going to start with cat-cow. The cow is very revered in India. They don't eat the cow. The cow is a symbol of love because the cow produces milk, and from that they make clarified butter called ghee. And the cat, it's an expert in relaxation. It's also an expert in cleverness and playfulness and independence. And so therefore the yogis thought, hey, if we take these positions, maybe we can embody some of these beautiful qualities too. So come on to all fours, hands underneath shoulders, knees directly underneath your hips. We've done this before, but now we're going to think about the psychological, esoteric qualities that we can take. We're going to get all the physical bones, but we want to get the love. So let's begin with cat. And we'll curl our toes under, and we'll exhale and round our spines, drop our tails, tuck our chins, and pull our bellies in and say meow. And then flatten the tops of your feet, hollow out your lower back, and then lifting from your heart center, the cow, moo, representing love, nurturing, motherly love. Exhale into cat, rounding the spine. And you know, when a cat gets up from sleeping, from resting, what does it do? It stretches. Sometimes it yawns and sticks its tongue out. And we're going to do that tonight too. All right, so let's inhale, hollow out the lower back, lift the tail, lengthen through the spine. And again, exhale into cat. Inhale into cow. And one last time, exhale fully. Remember, draw your navel in, tuck your chin, drop your tail, pull your bellies in. And on an inhale, hollow out your lower back, lifting the heart, lengthening through the upper spine, through the neck. And let's return to neutral. And from here, we're going to transition into bird dog pose. Again, something we've done before, but extend your back leg. We'll start with the bird part. And when we think about birds, of course, we think about air. Now, I recognize that holding this posture isn't going to feel like you're flying, but howbeit we extend our arm, extend our leg, and maybe feel like we're taking flight. And then exhale, and let's come back to earth in dog. And inhale, back to bird. Now maybe we could flap our wings a little bit and take our arm and leg to the side and back to the front, once again to the side, back to the front, exhale, back into dog. Inhale, bird, legs and arm to side, arm and leg to the back, arm and leg to the side, and back to the front. Exhale, back to dog. And one more time. Exhale, the arm and the leg. Just reach and stretch this time. Feeling light as you can. Exhale, come on all the way down. And let's take frog pose. So your knees are as wide as the mat. Big toes touch. Flatten the tops of your feet. Send your buttocks back towards your heels. Leave your hands where they are. Release your torso between your thighs. And if it's comfortable, place your forehead on the mat or create a pillow with your forearms or stack your wrists and lower your forehead onto the tops of your wrists. So frog pose, Bakasana, they wait. Frogs sit and wait. Now they go ribbit, 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 but they wait and they have this inner acceptance. And it's interesting too, animals or amphibians, birds, they don't seem to know what depression is. They don't seem to have that gamut of negative emotions. They don't have the expectations. And in that way, do we see them as being less than us? Or can we imagine they're actually more elevated, higher spirits who are not pulled down with negative thinking, with irrational fears? So in frog, the frog takes its time to be still, to be quiet, and to be prepared for when they see that delicious little bug, and then they jump, stick their tongues out, and nail it. Okay, so bring your knees back underneath your hips. Your hands are flat on the floor with your middle finger pointing forward. And let's just briefly bring our hips up into a soft dog. So bend one leg, straighten the other. Dogs. Loyalty, protection, playfulness, and change. Can we bring some playfulness into our practice? Can we be loyal to ourselves and know that this yoga practice is truly taking care of, in no small way, change the leg again, your most valuable possession, your body. And it's interesting, some people would say, oh, I'm too tired to practice yoga. Well, I'm going to say one thing, energy begets energy. You don't get energy from just laying around saying, well, I'm too tired. I don't feel like exercising. Again, check in with your feelings. If you thought about it, you would say, well, I know it's good for me, so I think I should do it. But if you say, I don't feel like it, here's the time, just do your soft walking of your dog here. That we need to not trust our feelings, we need to examine them. They're not always based in logic. So we should take a deep breath sometimes. Straighten both legs. Feel that stretch in the backs of your legs. Feel your inner dog that wants to play. And now walk your feet towards your hands and just let your upper torso hang. Okay, this beautiful stretch for the spine, it's actually happening through gravity, nothing else. Please relax your head by moving your neck to find out if you're holding it. We have to hold our heads up all day. So sometimes we forget what it feels like and we're thinking we still have to hold on to them. Well, you don't right now. Let it hang. And then soften your knees, press the soles of your feet into the floor, slowly roll up, keeping your chin tucked into your chest, and letting your head be the last thing to come up. And it's interesting, today I was thinking about my head being forward, and I'm telling you, you feel the weight of your head when it's forward. But when your head is centered right over your shoulders, it becomes a lot lighter. It's amazing. But again, we get used to something. It's habitual. The head is forward. You get used to that feeling in the back of your neck. Let's get used to better posture. And you will feel lighter. You will feel more energized. You'll look better. All right. Sun salutations, Surya Namaskar. There is no life on this planet without the sun. No plants, no trees, no animals, no birds, no fish, no people. Huh. What fun would that be? All right, so coming up to the fronts of your mats, let's pay homage and respect to the greatest life force on this planet. Inhale, in place. Exhale, hands in prayer. Step your feet apart. Reach your arms up. Look up, reach up, and arc back. Feel that stretch in the front of your spine. And then inhale, reaching up and lift out of your waist. Exhale, fold from the top of your legs. Reach forward. Fingertips come to the floor. Bend your knees if you need to. Please relax your neck. Let your head hang. Step your right leg back. Drop your knee onto the mat. If you want to take your back knee off the floor, go ahead now. Press through the heel. So you're actually bringing all your weight, not all of it, but a lot of it into that back heel. That'll be the anchor of the posture. And then remember, when we lift our arms, it's a U shape, and the bottom of that U is just about in the middle of your back. So inhale the arms up, keeping the shoulders down, keeping the rib cage in. It doesn't have to be a huge reach. Keeping our shoulders neutral, well away from our ears. Turn your hands forward, spread your fingers apart. Come on into your plank or push-up position. Be mindful, if you have any pain in your wrists, then bring your knees to the mat. Otherwise, with your toes completely flexed, you're stretching your plantar fascia. Actually, it doesn't really stretch, but it enlivens it to pull it this way. And then press all 10 fingers into the mat to engage more of your wrist and forearm muscles. Reach through the crown of your head, pull your bellies in, feel as strong as a 2x4, maybe even a 4x4. And then release your knees to the mat, flatten the tops of your feet, leave your hands where they are. Take your buttocks way back, almost coming into like a puppy pose, and then release your elbows and forearms onto the mat. Stay nice and low like a snake in the grass. Come slowly forward until your chest and your chin alight on your mats. This is excellent for keeping your upper back from rounding, hunching, and of course, supporting the integrity of your spine. Okay, slide everything out behind you. Cobra, another animal. I guess not an animal. I don't know if a cobra is an animal. I don't think it's not an animal. It's maybe a mammal. What is it? Reptile. It's a reptile. You're right, reptile, tech guy, thank you. Okay, line up your fingertips with the edges of your shoulders. Bring your elbows into your side body and then press your forearms down onto the mat. Please press your hips and pelvis into the mat. Flatten the tops of your feet so your toes point backwards. Roll an invisible alley with your nose. On an inhale, without using your hands, lengthen as you lift as much of your upper body as you can off the floor. And just hang out here, waiting. Your eyes can be opened or closed. We like to have them rolling up towards our ajna chakra, the seat of intuition. Animals, they have lots of intuition. They can pick up on things that are going on, as the poem that I sent or the prose. Anyway, they can sense things that we have no clue about. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, all the way down. Curl your toes under. Come on up onto your knees. Lift your hips up. Let's take that doggy pose, but we'll keep the knees bent. We'll press our bellies onto our thighs, hearts towards our knees. Align your ears with your inner arms. Make sure you're pressing all your fingers into the mat. And then as you bring your heels towards the floor, take your sits bones back, lengthen your spine. And as I always say, please don't concern yourself with whether or not your heels ever touch the floor. Just feel a good stretch in the lower part of your leg and be ready to feel playful, to be loyal, to be protective of your health, of your body, of your truth, of your feelings. Lift that right leg up, look at your right hand, swing that foot as far forward as you can. If it doesn't go that far, pick it up at the ankle and move it to the front of your mat, and then bring the other leg forward. Let your head hang in Utkatasana. And again, I want you to just hang out in this because this is the opposite of gravity. This is releasing the force of gravity. Between poor posture and gravity, our spines compress. We're actually taller when we wake up in the morning than later in the day. But if we do some yoga and we really pay attention to our posture, that doesn't have to be that way. Bring your arms beside your ears. Engage your thighs by pulling up on your kneecaps. Pull your bellies in. Inhale, sweep the arms in front, reaching up, stretching up, feet apart for balance. Reach up, arc back. Inhale, bring your feet back together, lift up out of your waist. Exhale, forward fold, bend your knees, and inhale, sweep the arms out to the side, reach up. Exhale, hands in prayer to your heart center. Let's do another round. Inhale, exhale, hands in prayer. Step your feet apart, arms up, reach up, look up and arc back, whatever amount you can. Inhale, bring your feet back together, lift up out of your waist. Exhale, reach forward, fingertips to the floor, let your head hang. Step your left leg back, drop your knee to the mat. Make sure your torso always stays directly over your hips, whether you leave the knee on the floor or if you lift it off. Don't let your body torque. Lean forward, keep it straight up and down. Inhale, sweep the arms up, focus your gaze for balance, and breathe. Make sure you're breathing beyond your chest, activating your diaphragm to push your bellies out. One more breath in, and exhale. Spread your fingers apart, bring them onto the mat, take that other leg back. Come on into your push-up plank position. So again, please press all 10 fingers into the mat to the point where you feel some space between the palm of your hand and the mat. Now, reach through the crown of your head. Feel the stretch of your plantar fascia. Feel the strength in your arms, your shoulders. Engage your core. When we engage everything and everything is activated, then a lot of your body doesn't have to take on extra work because it's all working. Release your knees, flatten the tops of your feet. Take your buttocks way back. Leave your hands where they are. Slowly come all the way back. Release your elbows and your forearms onto the floor. Stay nice and low and slowly come forward. So keep coming until you can release your chest and your chin on the mat. And if you're not there yet, don't worry, you'll get there. Breathe. I know it feels awkward, but trust me, keeping your spine supple and flexible will serve you well into your later years. Slide everything out behind you. You notice when you see older people, sometimes they've lost the ability to stand up straight. Their spines are not flexible. Place your fingertips at the edges of your shoulders. Bring your elbows into your side body and press them down to the floor. If you are considering the fuller expression of Cobra, you may separate your feet and press your baby toes into the mat. Press your hips and pelvis into the mat. Roll an invisible alley with your nose till you're looking straight down at the mat. On an inhale, lift your head, neck, shoulders, chest. Stay here in baby or press the floor away from you, coming up into the fuller expression of Bhujangasana, Cobra. So now the Cobra, the snake, is alert and looking and ready to strike. Breathing. One more inhale. Exhale, lengthen as you lower. The snake is going to rest again until it's ready. Curl your toes under and lift your hips up. Walk your feet a few inches forward. Bend your knees. Press your belly on your thighs. Chest towards knees, align your ears with your arms. Make sure you're pressing all your fingers into the mat, especially your thumb and your baby fingers. On an exhale, press your heels towards the mat, straightening your legs whatever amount you can. My legs are not straight. I have a soft bend in my knees, but I'm getting plenty of stretch in the backs of my legs. Feeling lots of energy. This is an energizing posture, as I have said many times before. Earth telluric energy is penetrating the soles of your feet as well as your hands in downward dog. Then lift your left leg up, look at your left hand, swing that foot as far forward as you can. Other leg forward. Let your head hang, arms beside your ears. Engage your thighs by lifting up on your kneecaps. Pull your belly in towards your spine to protect your lower back. Bring your arms beside your ears. Inhale, sweep the arms in front, reaching up, looking up, feet apart for balance, arc back. Inhale, lift up out of your waist. Exhale, forward fold, bend your knees, sweep the arms out to the side, reaching up and overhead, palms together, in prayer to your heart center, and then come on down onto your mat for Shavasana, corpse pose, lying down. Let me throw a block or two at Tech Guy, if he needs one. Okay. Or take a sip of water, bringing yourself into Shavasana, flat out and relaxing. Turn your palms up in the open and receiving position. Bring your heels together. Let your feet splay out. And let your body be soft and heavy. And just take a moment to listen. So this is from an article about the wisdom of animals. The fellow who wrote the article says, more than 50 years ago, I came across an account from a naturalist concerning intuition in wild animals. His most vivid story was of his daily observations on the progress of a mother fox and her cubs, secure in a deep den several feet up the bank of a rushing mountain stream. The kits were finally beginning to appear for short stretches when Mama Fox would bring mice and moles to them. But one balmy, clear day when a high breeze was blowing, that mother fox did something the naturalist had never seen before that briefly baffled him. The vixen suddenly emerged from her den, scrambled some 15 feet up the bank, well above her home, and with dirt flying, began furiously to dig another den. In a short time, she had disappeared into the new hole, still digging away, and finally, reappearing, she ran down to the original den and laboriously carried each little kit to their new home where she safely deposited them. I'm not done with the story yet, but what I want you to do is, with your arms beside your body and your palms now facing down, I want you to lift your upper body off the floor. You're going to come into fish pose, Matsyasana, bringing the weight onto your elbows. I will demonstrate this just in case, and then I'm going to come back up to finish this great little story. So you're lifting your upper body off the floor, and then you're tilting your head back. Now, you can let your head just hang without it touching the floor, because there should be very little weight, or you can actually bring the crown of your head onto the floor. You decide if you want your head and your hair just to feel like seaweed rushing in the water, but you can bring the crown of your head. This opens up your throat and your heart chakra, which we're going to cover in one of our 2 last classes. Okay, so stay there for a moment. When you feel the need to come out of this posture and just gently roll your head from side to side. But it's a great little stretch because normally our head is forward. This is counteracting that. Okay, so the fox, as I said, the mother fox, Vixen, she carried each one of the kits to their new home within minutes. After completing this unusual feat, a flash flood tore down the steep mountain valley, creating a wall of water that carried masses of debris. The former den flooded and remained submerged for quite some time until the jammed water subsided. It seems a massive cloudburst had loosed several miles upstream, unbeknownst to the naturalist on that balmy day, but not to the Vixen. And there's another interesting story. Remember the tsunami? I can't believe it's 2004 that took place in Southeast Asia. I'm trying to think of the place because my yoga friends were there and I was concerned about them, but they didn't even know it had happened. As far as I know, not one animal was lost. They knew something was coming. No humans knew. I mean, there was a loss of life, incredible loss of buildings. If you remember that tsunami, it was really, obviously terrifying and horrible, and yet not one animal lost its life. Okay. The wisdom of animals. So in your lying down position, just bring the soles of your feet together, and we're taking supine Bakasana. So once again, your palms can face up in the open and receiving position, and just spend a moment here. Now maybe you could place your back in neutral. So instead of having a whole lot of space tilting your pelvis down or pressing the small of your back into the floor, have it neutral. So it's not tilting one way or the other, your pelvis. Your pelvic bowl is fairly flat and your back is neither on the mat nor is it arcing. Stretching the inner groin. So Bakasana or cobbler's pose. Now we're doing this in the lying down position, but in a moment we will do it in the sitting up position. In fact, bring your knees together now and bring them up towards your chest. And just take a moment here with one hand on each knee, and let's do a little rocking from side to side, or maybe make big circles. So the wider your knees are, the more territory you can cover. In fact, now I didn't look this posture up, but I'm thinking that I'd like to do it. Dead bug pose, or we call it happy baby pose. So with your knees pulled in towards your chest, you may need to have your feet wider than your hips right now. Can you take hold of your left instep? Now, if you need to take it from the outside, take it from the outside. If you can grab it from the inside, take from the inside. If you're not able to grab your insteps, and remember, your knees should be outside of your torso. If you can't, grab your ankles or grab your pants, whatever you can. But if you can grab your insteps, have your knees outside of your torso, your feet are flat, your ankles should be as much as possible over top of your knees. Obviously, this is a hamstring stretch. And then try to push your sacrum onto the floor. And just breathe here. Wow. And maybe a little rocking from side to side. And that will do. Place your hands underneath the backs of your thighs. I guess you weren't such a happy baby in that posture, tech guy. And rock up. And let's take Bakasana. Soles of your feet together. Now, tough stretch. Be careful if you have an inner groin issue, then maybe you're not going to stretch both of them. If your knees are up quite high, maybe press your feet further away from you. Further away from you. And breathe. Don't hold your breath. We're holding a posture. So this can be a very difficult posture. Again, sitting in chairs all day, we should spend more time sitting on floors and doing things. And breathe. Really deep. So inhale, lifting your heart, lengthening your spine. Exhale. Can you fold forward whatever amount? Don't worry, doesn't need to be a whole lot. You can round your spine here. And know your ego is probably not being flattered, but get over it. It's okay. Inhale, come on all the way up. And then extend the legs out in front and bang out the backs of your knees. Okay, next up, the noble lion. Okay, so you're coming onto your knees, but your knees are wide apart. And then you're going to place, can you see my feet here? I'm putting one foot on top of the other. I hope you can see my foot. And it doesn't matter which one. Okay, so just place one foot. And then if you don't even want to do that, it's okay too. But if you put one foot on top of the other, and then place your hands in front. So here's the deal with the lion. The lion is noble, the lion is patient, the lion rests a lot, and then it pounces. But if you're a good runner, the lion isn't going to catch you. Right? The lion cannot run as fast as certain animals. So in lion pose, we actually stick our tongues out on the exhale and we go, ah. So begin by inhaling. Sit up nice and tall. As tall as you. Yeah. You bring your hands in. And let's do this again. Inhale. Now, the platysma is the muscle in the neck here. And if when you do this, it strengthens this muscle, can actually keep this, from getting all that, excess tissue in our throat area. What do you call it? A waddle? Yeah, well, it could be turkey neck. Yeah, gobble, gobble, gobble. Okay, all right. So let's do this again. Inhale. And some days I scrape my tongue every day to remove ama off it. There are scrapers you can buy in the health food store, but it's good to have a look at your tongue. It will tell you a lot about your health. Okay, let's come over onto our bellies. Let's start with crocodile. So Bakasana, again, another animal that rests. Take your feet the width of the mat. Fold your forearms in front of you. Now, you want basically a lot of your diaphragm off the floor. So you're going to have to find what works here to place your forehead on your forearms. As I said, most of your diaphragm, so your diaphragm goes from the bottom of your lungs to the top of your stomach. So maybe part of your diaphragm's on the floor, but just organize yourself. And just breathe here. So remember the crocodile, another is not a reptile, it's a mammal. Isn't it? I think it's a mammal. So crocodile, Bakasana, they wait. Balance hasn't necessarily been a word that we use frequently, but finding the balance in your diet, finding the balance in your life between being and doing. And notice the number of animals, they live longer than us. They lie in wait. They know how to rest. They know how to stretch. And they know how to move. So just breathing here in Bakasana. Alrighty. Let's bring the legs back together. Locust Pose, Shavasana. Place your forehead on the floor. Place your arms beside your body with your palms facing up in the open and receiving position. Your legs are going to be together. So once again, the locust close to the earth, grounded, secure, and balanced. And that's what we're going to practice, balance in this posture. So roll an invisible alley with your nose to lengthen your neck. Press your hips and pelvis into the floor. Inhale, lift your head, your neck, your shoulders, your arms, and your legs are coming up. They're not going to come that far up, but your heart is going to start to pound because the blood needs to circulate to all of your extremities. You have no bones to support you to hold yourself up right now. It's all about your muscles, all about those tissues, and the blood supply has to get there because the blood contains the oxygen necessary for these muscles to fire. One more inhalation, lift up and exhale, turn your head to the right. Let your shoulders melt, big toes touch, heels splay out. And relax. And breathe. I don't think I've ever heard of an animal having a heart attack. I've heard of animals having epilepsy, cancer, but I've never heard of an animal having a heart attack, which is interesting. Now, the position of their hearts, of course, it's lower and ours are higher. So our heart sometimes has to work a little more efficiently, a little harder than an animal's. Bring your head back to center. Bring your legs together. We're going to do Locust Pose, Shavasana one more time. Roll the invisible alley, looking down at the mat. Inhale and lift the head, neck, shoulders, arms, legs coming up. Locust Pose. Grounding, activating Muladhara, our root chakra. So this posture is all about feeling connected, part of a community, security, groundedness. One more inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, turn your head to the other side. Big toes touch, shoulders melt, heels splay out. And let everything become soft and heavy. Very, very demanding posture, these back bends on the floor, because your bones are just going for the ride. The muscles are doing all the work. And bring your head back to center. And let's press up. And just take frog for a moment. Or you can do child's pose proper. That means your knees will be together. And release your belly and your chest over your thighs. Perhaps your forehead can rest on the floor, but if not, make a pillow. Release your forehead onto your forearms, or stack your fists, or spread your legs wide apart, coming into frog pose. The next posture we're going to take will be our dolphin pose. Dolphins are playful, they're creative, and they have an incredible desire for harmony, peace, and kindness. All right, so coming out of your frog or your child's pose, bring your forearms onto the floor. If you take hold of your elbows like this, you will know what the distance you need between your elbows. So release them back down onto the mat, open it up, interlace your fingers, and then bring the baby finger that's on the floor, the lowest one, bring it inside your hand so it doesn't get crushed when we come up into dolphin pose. So dolphin's a little bit like a downward facing dog. We're going to curl our toes under and we're going to lift our hips up and just let your upper body hang. Your head does not touch the floor in dolphin. Again, fairly demanding pose. But think about the dolphin that plays in the water, jumps through the waves, dives, comes out. Breathing. One more deep inhalation and exhale. Come on, all the way down. And once again, release your torso onto your thighs. Our next posture will be Pigeon Pose. Eka Para Raja Kapotasana. Eka means one, Para means foot, Raja means king. And it's interesting. Again, we look at the pigeon, the last thing we would think is that the pigeon could be king of anything. But this is how the pigeon feels about itself. You can see it's pretty proud. It's got that barrel chest. It struts around. Yes, it eats a lot of garbage, blah, 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 blah. But let me see what other qualities we have for our pigeon. Assurance, confidence in challenging situations. Yes, to be a pigeon, you need challenging for sure. So cushion or block, have it, first of all, on your left side. So we'll do our, hang on here, I want to get it right. We'll just have it in the center. Find it. Yeah, okay. So have it on your left side. We're going to lift the left leg up in the air. So come on to your hands, and you're sort of in a dog here, like a dog. And now we're in a three-legged dog. You're lifting your left leg up, tilt it over to the right side, look under your right armpit, and say hello to your foot. Okay, and now bring your left knee towards your left hand or left wrist. Look behind you and extend the right leg straight behind you, and then uncurl the toes, flatten the top of that foot. This is where you're going to take your block or your cushion, in this case my runa, and I'm going to put that under my hip, and then I'm going to lift myself up into that barrel-chested pigeon with my hips, my chest, and my shoulders squared to the front of the mat. Having confidence, having assurance, breathe into that hip, and then walk your hands forward. Come on down onto your forearms and elbows. And this may be the limit for you in this posture. You may find that if you have something underneath your hip that maybe you want to take it further out, it may be impeding you at this point, or keep it there. Just notice what it feels like. And then you can once again, if you can go a little bit lower, breathing into that left hip and thigh, you can make fists, one on top of the other, and rest your forehead on your fists. You can make a pillow with your forearms and rest your forehead. It gets a little more intense the more you lower your upper body. And if it feels too intense, bring yourself back up into that barrel-chested pigeon. And possibly you might be able to lower your forehead onto the floor and bring your hands out in front. But don't try to be a hero in any of these poses. Just do what feels right for you right now. Breathing into that left hip. This lengthens your spine, quiets your mind. Any kind of pressure on your pineal gland releases melatonin. So this, of course, has a calming effect. Not if you're in a lot of pain, of course. Be tough to calm. Let's come out of this pose and bring your block or pillow to the other side. Curl the back toes under and slowly bring the other leg and gently walk the dog, especially stretching the left leg. Slowly stretch one leg bent, one leg straight, and change. So you're stretching that left leg, the one you just bent, and then come back to neutral and lift your right leg up in the air, your three-legged dog. Tip your right leg over to the left. Look under your left armpit at your foot. And then bring it back, and then bring your right knee towards your right wrist. Look behind you, extend your left leg straight out behind you. Prop yourself up on your fingertips, coming into that barrel-chested pigeon pose, Ekapada Raja Kapotasana. You might stay here, or you may come down onto your forearms, on the side of them, on your elbows. This intensifies the hip opener, but it also brings more confidence, like that pigeon. Confident they'll find enough food to eat. Confident. I don't think I've ever seen a pigeon nest. Where do pigeons sleep anyway? Anybody know where pigeons sleep? On your roof? I don't know. Nature's so beautiful. It's so magical, mystical. All right, and perhaps make a pillow and lower your forehead onto your forearms. And breathe into that right hip. Know that you're releasing all kinds of tension and stress. Remember, the hips are equal to the junk drawer. Stuff gets shoved in there without even thinking about it, stuff we don't have time to deal with. That's probably our biggest problem in life, is that there's so much coming at us these days. We can't possibly process everything. We don't have the time in that moment, and it just ends up lodged in our bodies. But thank goodness for yoga, because it releases so much. We don't even have to know what it is. Alrighty, so curl the toes under and press back. And once again, let's do that dog walk. Straightening the right leg, bending the left, changing. Once again, change. And then release your knees to the floor. And let's take our camel posture. So in camel, when we round our backs, it's kind of like the camel hump. And the camel hump actually is providing energy and sustenance for the camel to travel and be able to handle environmental challenges well. Maybe we should be practicing camel more often with our environmental challenges. So curl your toes under so your heels are nice and close. Place your hands on your waist so that your thumbs are at the back, fingers are towards the front. And then release your left hand down onto your left heel. And then see if you can release your right hand onto your right heel. And then open up and lift your heart. And feel the energy and the sustenance flowing into the front of your body. creating space for your organs and glands. And then bring your hands back to your waist. And let's take one more frog pose. Knees the width of the mat, flatten the tops of your feet. Release your torso between your thighs and your forehead, either on your forearms, your stacked fists, or perhaps directly on the mat. Breathing into your side and your back ribs. Bakasana, the frog that's patient, that observes and waits. One more deep inhale. And exhale, let everything go. And come on up onto your knees. Curl your toes under. Soles of your feet flat on the floor. Let your head hang and slowly roll up one vertebra at a time. And we've got two more poses to do if we can. We'll do horseman first. Utkatasana, called powerful pose. It's not about power over anybody else. It's really aligning our power. And we do this frequently. So big toes very close together, potentially touching. And then weight goes into the back of the heels as if you were sitting in a chair, sitting on a chair, lifting your arms up either shoulder height or maybe slightly higher. So really put your weight in your heels. Look down. Make sure that your toes are well ahead of your knees. So sit down, a little lower. Come on. There you go. You're ready for ski season. Exhale. Release your fingertips to the floor. Let your head hang and slowly roll up one vertebra at a time and give your legs a shake out. And the last pose, eagle pose. The eagle, Garudasana. Garud was a deity, or Garuda, I should say. Garuda is a deity. I think there's a record label called Garuda, but it's supposed to be the destroyer of all evil on earth, if only. Oh boy. But anyway, okay, eagle pose. So I'm not going to do the mirror image. I'm going to do the opposite. You're going to balance. Let's balance on the right leg first. Okay, balance on the right leg. Come on the ball of the left foot. Then you're going to take your arms and swing them. Your left arm is going under your right. Left arm under your right. And then release your arms. And if you can, wow, my shoulders are tight. Bring your hands together. Look at that. Yeah, I'm just going to bring the backs of my hands together. And then, again, it's like you're sitting in a chair. You've really got to bend your leg a lot, and you're going to lift your left leg over the right, wrap it around, focus your gaze. So the eagle is known for incredible vision, intuition. This strengthens your third eye, Ajna chakra. Bend that leg. You have to bend it. And releasing. Release your arms. Now sweep them up. Let's this time take the right under the left. Grab your shoulder blades if you can behind you. Release your arms. You're trying to bring your palms together or the backs of your hands. And this time we're balancing on the left leg. Take your time. Wait for your own inner cue for balanced posture. You're going to lift your right leg up over your left. Bend the leg a lot. Wrap the leg around. The eagle is a revered animal. It's on the flag. I mean, it seems to be the icon of Americanism and release. and sweep the arms up. Exhale, float the arms down and bring your body finally into Shavasana, flat out and relaxing. Take a sip of water. If you need to cover yourself with a blanket or put socks on, please do so. So flat on your backs. Feet are together. Heels come together. Let your feet splay out. Turn your palms up in the open and receiving position. Have them just far enough away from your body that your shoulders are relaxed. Tuck your shoulder blades under your heart center. Tilt your chin towards the center of your chest. Scooch and lengthen anything that you can at this point, your legs or your arms. And then try to relax your lower back. Once again, have it in that neutral position. And we're going to inhale, sun, warm, yellow, positive. Exhale, moon, blue, cool, negative. Inhale, sun, warm, yellow, positive. Exhale, moon, blue, cool, negative. Sun, warm, yellow, positive. Moon, cool, blue, 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 negative. As humans, we often struggle to stay aligned, stay positive. Sickness, worry, depression, stress, and busyness keep us from being more aware of our bodies and what our bodies truly need in order to thrive. So it's maybe that the yogis hoped to learn about balancing their emotions and reducing their stress by studying animals. And we even think about the snowshoe hare, a rabbit, who often faces multiple predators at one time, yet they don't get sick, they don't become depressed, they just live and they reproduce. So if we could be, in some ways, more like animals, only eating until we're satisfied, not until we're stuffed. Taking time to rest so that we're ready for whatever the demands and responsibilities are. And not thinking, oh, I need to be doing something all the time. No. In fact, lie down. Allow the earth to lurk energy, to ground, to support, to remind you that you're safe, that you're secure, to not get caught up in all of the craziness going on in this world. They don't. Maybe we could be more like them. Thank you for coming out to share your yoga practice with me tonight. Namaste.